What's up guys, I'm Sean. Today we're going to be installing this skid plate on my 2019 Honda Pilot. This skid plate is made out of aluminum and it's about 5 millimeters thick. Let's see how much it weighs. So it's about 16 or 17 pounds. I installed a 2-inch lift on my Honda Pilot. If you haven't seen a DIY yet, check it out. I'm also running 2-inch bigger tires. I'm running 265/70 17-inch wheels and tires. And if you look at the Honda Pilot from the factory, there's no protection underneath the car. So no protection for the oil pan or the transmission. Get your car safely on jack stands. Here's your skid plate mocked up. There's a little ventilation right here. And then there's the hole for the transmission, I think. Drain bolt for the transmission. And then there's a hole for the drain bolt for the oil. So the only downside is that you lose the center jacking point with this plate here. So I got to think about what I'm going to do. Here's the front center jacking point that I was referring to. This makes it really convenient when you jack up the front of the car to do like a tire rotation or putting the jack stands in place. But the skid plate will block this, so that's kind of a downside. Here's the bag of hardware that comes with the skid plate. So I'm going to start taking the factory bolts off. This right here is a 14 and the other one right there is a 14, so just remove that first. Looks like we're going to replace the factory 14mm bolts with these two that are longer. And comes with washers. Now we're going to remove the 4 10mm bolts right here. Remove the other two. For the front 4 bolts, this stainless steel bolt is a little short, so I'm going to go with the longer one that was provided. I'm using a lock washer and also a flat washer. Using a jack or a helper, lift up the skid plate, line up the hose, and loosely install the bolts. Like I was saying earlier, the one downside of this skid plate is that it blocks the center jacking point. The center jack point is nice when you're doing like oil changes or tire rotations, etc. Here's the center cutout I did for the skid plate. Not the prettiest, but it's still functional. What's nice is that it still allows me to use my center jack point. So when I need to rotate my tires or do an oil change or something, that's nice. And this bigger opening allows more airflow for the transmission and the oil pan, which is also good. And this part right here gives a little bit of protection, but it's not as important because the center beam's here. All the protection that's important is down here where the engine, oil pan is, and the transmission is. So I didn't touch this part, which is nice. So now I'm going to tighten it all up. Alright, all the bolts are tight. I don't know what the torque spec is for that bolt, but it's like a bracket bolt. It's not a true subframe bolt, so I don't think the torque specs are that important. But you can see the aluminum kind of bows a little bit, so it's pretty snug there. And the front I got pretty snug as well. So the skid plate is installed. It's interesting that Honda doesn't include at least a plastic skid plate for the car. I know it's not a real off-roader, but at least have a plastic under tray or something like most cars do. So this aluminum skid plate will give it more protection when I go off-roading or off the trails. Good thing I made that cutout for the center jacking point because my car is still on jack stands. So look, my cutout is perfect. Now I get to use my jack with the skid plate. With the 2-inch lift and 2-inch bigger tires, you can barely see it. Only if you go down like this, then you can really see it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.